our afternoon planning session for evaluation week. Start by reading the ethics statement. Commission members are required that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this commission. Does any member of the commission know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. So the point of this afternoon's meeting, we take roll call to make sure we have quorum.
Okay, Commissioner Jody Ray Autry,
Commissioner Autry present.
Commissioner Catherine Bailey, Commissioner Ricky Baldwin,
Commissioner Baldwin present.
Commissioner Marlena Blue, Commissioner William Cheshire, Commissioner Aubrey Gadet, Commissioner Kathleen Linker,
Commissioner Linker present.
Commissioner Susan Mills, Commissioner Rob Oral, Commissioner Alicia Ray,
Commissioner Ray present.
and Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner
We have quorum established.
Okay. So our main purpose this afternoon is to decide who we would have ready to debrief tomorrow afternoon.
Commissioner Lincoln, this is Commissioner Gadet and Commissioner Baldwin can help me with this. I will say 47, 912 is prepared to debrief.
Commissioner Baldwin adds, I would add 912 first
Okay.
is ready, and social studies 6 through 8 should be ready to,
In that order.
in that order.
Commissioner Sice, ELD 6 through 12 will go through tomorrow. However, the ELD 6-8 will be moving into the 5th grade classroom in the morning.
And Commissioner Autry, ELD K-5 will need some additional time due to the number of bids and the way that the bids are packaged with K-6 and being reviewed at all levels. They'll need some additional time to do their bids.
Commissioner Ray, Social Studies K-5 will be ready for debriefing on Friday morning.
I'm just copying, Commissioner Linker, I'm typing in our document where we have them at. Commissioner Autry, would you say that the ELD K-5 should be the end? We should plan those for the end
Yes, Commissioner Autry, I think they would be,
on
they would
Friday?
need some more time to dig into the material.
Commissioner Gadet, I think they would benefit from the K2 if it's about work mainly with this afternoon.
This Commissioner Linker, Commissioner Ray, would you say social studies afternoon or before lunch? Or is there any grades that you think would be sooner?
Commissioner Ray, I believe that Social Studies K2 could likely be ready first thing in the morning and 3-5 mid-morning in Social Studies.
Commissioner Linker speaking again. Commissioner Sice, which of the ELD 612, and which would you recommend that we start with first, knowing that they're going to go to another room when we finish? All of them, is there a certain grade level or a certain level that?
Commissioner Sice, why don't we start with mine, because they're done, they're working on their lab. And I will give 6-8 the ability to stay in that grade 5.
So if you look at the document, this is the rough order that we're thinking. Wait, hold on. Not, ELD 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, social studies, American history, comp personal finance, founding principles, world history, social studies 6, 7, 8, ELD 6, 7, 8, and then definitely not before Friday would be social studies K5 and ELD K5 would be not before Saturday, Friday afternoon. Now we have too many for Thursday afternoon, so we need to figure out in that list who you would want to move to the first thing in the morning on Friday. And
If you move those, Commissioner Ray, if you move those ELD
So Friday.
6, 8 to Friday morning, that would give them the entire day to work. And they could go first thing so that they could go straight back into their,
completing anything, yeah.
yes, their roles.
Commissioner says I agree, that's exactly what I was thinking, give them the whole day.
Commissioner, the early could go last. Forgive me.
They're just helping. 5.
Commissioner Linker, so for the social studies high school, they are 100% finished. We think they could go first. They will be.
Commissioner Cadet, they will be-
They should be 9/12, should be ready to go.
So looking at the order, knowing that we might push, when we time it out, we might need to push somebody down to Friday morning. Does that look okay with it being ELD 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th? So then they can go, are they doing anything else?
The commissioner says they can, so they can, once they do it, then they can jump into the big grade.
Okay.
Also.
So if we keep them at the top,
Mhm.
and then we start social studies and do high school courses, and then 6th, 7th, and 8th? Does that look doable? Think about the numbers that you have, and we give roughly 3-4 minutes per bid.
Commissioner says that's fine for 9/12, because they don't have.
They don't have as much.
Commissioner Humphrey, planning for Friday afternoon, each grade level, K5 and ELD has approximately 30 to 35 bids.
So I figured that, I would think that Commissioner Linker, I would think that they would definitely be the afternoon block. And then I think social studies K5 would be later in the morning block, but start,
Commissioner Ray, they can be ready in the morning. The one that I'm the most concerned about is my 5th grade, because they do have additional bids and they have more standards.
so that puts, does that order look,
Commissioner Ray, would 5th grade, would social studies grade 5 be able to continue working even through social studies grade 3 and social studies grade 4 debriefing?
so, yes, so the way we will do it, because they're in the WebEx, we'll give them a time and they will work until that time.
Okay,
So it wouldn't be third, fourth, and fifth would all be here together. We would give them an estimated time
Okay.
to be on the WebEx, and they would just leave their room and pop in. So they would continue to work until it was time for them to come in. So that puts them at the end of the morning block.
Commissioner Ray, that sounds great.
If we need to move someone from Thursday morning to Friday, would you move the ELD 10, 9, 10, 11, 12? Is there something else that they could be doing Thursday?
Yeah, Commissioner says. They're K-12.
Yeah, Commissioner Humphrey, any ELD were trained and certified
Mhm.
K-12.
I'm gonna, for temporarily, we'll just put them down at the beginning of the morning, because if they go to other grades, they'll have to debrief later anyway on Friday morning. So then that leaves us Thursday afternoon basically with doing social studies, 6, 8, and then the 4 high school courses. might maybe separating the ELD out and move two. So if you will, Commissioner sites, like notate, highlight, whatever you want. Two of those 4, 9 through 12 that you think could come Thursday if we needed to, that wouldn't be needed.
So it's just two.
No, 2 grade levels.
Commissioner Ray, if you needed to move kindergarten and first grade, social studies kinder first, they could likely go Thursday afternoon. Commissioner Ray, I would like to leave second social studies on Friday morning.
Highlighted the ones that could possibly move up to Thursday if we need to, once we plot out the actual, again, basically it's a rough estimate of 3 to 4 minutes per bid number. So when we get a chance to kind of firm that up and make sure, then I'll come up with the more defined timeline, because I'd really like to give them a time to start. And on the schedule, we start at 12. Am I correct, Dr. Fair, for tomorrow?
I'm sorry.
So I think we could go ahead and say, let me pull up my bids. If we start with 12, with us at 12 with history, with American history.
Commissioner, I will say this about the, concern for Friday afternoon. We're looking at approximately 40 bids after looking at the numbers, 40 bids per grade level. And if we are allowing 3 to 4 minutes per bid, that's 12 hours.
When we go and look at Commissioner Linker, some of the bids are a combination of different pieces put together different ways, and so it might be a little faster moving.
Commissioner Cadet, I do, agree with you, Commissioner Winker, in that is looking through some of the information available. It was sort of bundled together, so I think it would go pretty quickly.
Commissioner Baldwin, due to Commissioner Autry's point, is there a way that we could come up with a more detailed schedule? Like we have the, which ones are going, but to put sort of like what Commissioner Gadet and myself did today, as well as Autry, to put what bid numbers there are, so we will have an indication of time to know how to plan.
Yes, Commissioner Linker. Yeah, that would be the next step, and that would kind of know the order they're in would be to look and see how many bids do we think each would, and what kind of block of time do we need for each. So we have some that we could move earlier Thursday to maybe free up some time, but we still wouldn't want to start them before too early. So as we look at the, like the ELD K5, maybe we, instead of saying K5, we can rank them more like who could come first in that K5. Would it be third grade first and start them a little bit earlier and kind of shift around a little bit now that we know the time frame for the clusters. So on the sheet that we have, that's shared in our folder where I've listed, I put in green, I know the ones from Thursday that we could move up. We have Friday morning that we could move up to Thursday. If you guys will just take a minute this afternoon, and put in parentheses behind that grade level, the number of bids that that grade has. I just really wanted to get the high school people a chance to know what time they were gonna come in to debrief in the morning, and then we also need to have a chance to talk about more specifically what the debriefing looks like for them, so that you have a chance to do that in the morning with the advisors when we get on first thing.
Since my 6:8 is, some of them are going, but just a reminder that I've got 5
Mhm.
leaving to go to the.
That would be helpful.
Commissioner Autry, can we make our criteria sheet, our one that we see, reflect the bids that were removed? Or do you have that list?
I'm working on trying to make a list of the original list.
Or the original?
The other ones weren't removed, they just weren't provided. So we would not discuss them because there's nothing to discuss about, but those bids have not actually been officially removed. We just haven't evaluated those materials, they weren't provided, so.
So when we're looking at total number of bids, we're looking at total number of original bids.
No, we're gonna, when we debrief, we're gonna subtract the ones that were not provided for us from that number. So it's still a pretty substantial number, but it cuts out about a third. Do you think, Commissioner Linker, do you think that for the high school courses, they seem to have like 7, 8 maybe bids apiece, 30 minutes would be sufficient between them, 45?
Commissioner says, for ELD, it is because of those 8 bids, 4 of them are a bundle.
Commissioner, for social studies, the premise the same. Structure as the ELD. 30 minutes between the, would be enough.
So if we're looking at that, if we start at 12 and we would need to give us a break about halfway through. So we could do 12, 12:30, 1, and 1:30, and then by 2 o'clock, we would be done with the high school social studies. Then would you want a 10-minute break there, or do you want to keep rolling for a little bit and then take a break? You remember, we're going to be taking notes like crazy. I'm going to be taking notes. So we just have a, say from 2 to 2:50.
Commissioner, again, I would just say that the way in which high school is constructed, we'd be looking at around 4 ish that we'd be looking at, because some of the bids are.
Okay.
I'm saying, Chance, I don't know if you would need 30 minutes for each of them.
20.
20, 15, 20 minutes.
see, 12, 20, 12. Oh, thanks, Alicia. And then just get rid of that break and keep on going.
Commissioner Ray, is 6th through 8th grade, the same, social studies, that same bundle where you're talking about there's 2 or 3 that can go together? Okay.
So again, 20
They can do
minutes.
15 minutes each.
Could be all of social studies for the 6, 12 could be 20-minute increments.
So then we could get all the way through there and then we would take let's just plan on taking a break at, let's say 2:45 in case we get a little transition time to 3. And then you think we could start back with either the ELD or the, there's a lot, Commissioner Slice, you think we could do some of ELD at the end if we finish social studies at
Yeah.
3?
Yeah, you should be able to get 9, 12, because it's the same, I can't imagine it taking more than 20. They only have 8 bids. And 4 of the 8 are one bundle, so.
And that would put us finishing up around 4:20, 4:30 at the latest. With that now,
Which is great.
We-
Commissioner Ray, because that will give us time to go back and,
check on everybody
Check
before
on.
the next one. Okay. All right, so then if we go back, that brings up a good chunk of time. Really not sure that it wouldn't be best just to let ELD go off the end, so the ones that are going down don't have to come out, go back, come out, go back. And just let ELD 6, 12 go after social studies? Or is there a grade level that you,
Yeah, we stuff a little different, it's not grade 6, grade 7, grade 8.
it's,
It's just 6, 8 is like any bid,
right,
so. I mean,
but they'll debrief by, or they'll give comments as a grade level, so like they would need to all be there if we're gonna do, if we do it that way.
So when do you want to move 6, 8 to?
No, keep them where they are, but do you want to keep them where they are, which would be first thing Friday morning? Or do you want to move them after the social study so they can keep working if they're moving down to other areas in ELD? Friday.
Commissioner Ray, how many 6th through 8th grade
42.
Advisors?
12, yeah.
So Commissioner Ray, of those 12, 5 were going. So why could we not go ahead and do ELD 6 through 8? So those 7 that are not
Okay,
can go on about their day. And then the 5 that are staying can hop right back in. It is.
It doesn't matter, it is what it is, it doesn't matter when they go. Because either way, they're gonna get pulled out of something, they're either gonna get out of the room or they're gonna get pulled out of debriefing, like, they're gonna have to get back to work, and it matters, and they're gonna get pulled really, whatever works best for the schedule.
so on Friday morning, we are scheduled to start the briefing at 9 o'clock. Give us a chance to check on the rooms, give final directions before, and we come out to debrief, so 9. Commissioner Slice, 20 minutes, or do we need a little bit longer the way they're bundled? 6th, 7th, and 8th?
They're gonna need longer, they have 42 bids.
I'll switch a little bit. Commissioner Ray, you want to move the social studies first? Do you think kindergarten first?
Commissioner Ray, yes.
So we could say 9. And same amount of time? Or actually probably maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Commissioner Ray, I believe it at 20.
Let's still move, and I'll just move, social studies down with second, third, fourth, fifth, because we feel like they'll be a little bit longer, correct?
Commissioner Ray, second, third, and fourth will only need 20 minutes to debrief, each.
But would they be ready after first grade social studies? Or because you said, we thought maybe second grade might need a little bit longer.
Commissioner Ray, yes, I agree, second grade may need longer. I'm just trying to figure out, how long ELD will take. Whatever works best for the schedule. If they need, Commissioner Ray, if they need to be moved up to 9:40, they can.
Commissioner, that we think that would work best for us if it was to do all of social studies and prior to ELD 6, 7, and 8, considering the number of bids that they have.
So if we start at 9 with kindergarten, we go at 20-minute increments, it would be 11 o'clock when we would be finished with the K-5 social studies. So at 11 o'clock, would you want to stop for a quick lunch or keep moving? Yes, ma'am, sorry. That's okay, do you want to come in?
Commissioner Ray, I think that a lunch at 11 o'clock would make sense so that we could jump right into ELD after lunch due to the amount of bids. So we don't have to start with an ELD group and then stop.
That makes sense, okay. This is Commissioner Leger. I think we have a good start, and as we can kind of look at the numbers and figure out a bit how long we to give for the ones that have the 40 and the 44 and what that's going to look like, so we can firm up that. I'll work on a little bit this evening, and then we'll be ready to look at that in the morning. The biggest thing is I'd like to be able to tell those people that are debriefing tomorrow before they leave in 15 minutes that they'll be debriefing tomorrow, and then tell them in the morning first thing. We'll talk about what that looks like. Is that doable? Do you think that we can jump in before they take out?
Commissioner, today, I, along with Dr. Ball, Commissioner Baldwin, told our high school folks that they would be tomorrow first in the afternoon, just because they would be finished and just looking at the broader picture of everyone else. We did not put them anybody else, and so on our poll that we took, of individuals, all of our advisors, all of them are prepared and ready, to do brief tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, that
Or
sounds good.
Social studies, 6-12.
Commissioner Ray, would you like for them to be in the main room first thing in the morning, once again, so that they can get basic information and then go to their breakout rooms?
Commissioner Linker, yes, that the plan would be when they come in at 8, give a few minutes for the people to struggle in, and to give everyone the same information about debriefing and what that'll look like, not taking too much time because these people need to we need to get some of them back in the rooms, and then in your rooms, if we have time to go over it before we leave, but when we leave to come down here, we're probably not we'll make it back at the end of the day to check in on them, so there won't be an opportunity to really talk about it later. So we will not open the breakout rooms until we get a chance to do a quick little, this is what it actually is, debriefing. I talked briefly about it in our meeting when we had the opening meeting, that they would be doing it and that they would talk, but maybe just a little more detail in how that looks, because that tends to be apprehensive for those that haven't experienced it before. Does everyone feel like we have a close idea of debriefings up until lunchtime on Friday?
Yes.
So Commissioner Linker said then again tomorrow, we need to make sure that we're eating an early lunch, because we'll need to be down here ready to go at 12:20. Oh, I missed something. We're supposed to start at 12 o'clock. Did I delete somebody? Hold on. So we're starting a briefing at 12. Okay, so starting at 12 o'clock with social studies, American history, and going at 20-minute increments, we get through the 4 high school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, take a short break, ELD 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, be finished at 4, so that we can go back and check on those that have been working in the room, update progress. Then on Friday morning, we start back at 9. Dr. Fair, I have a question. Is there any way we can start our meeting early, a little earlier than 9 on Friday, if we've already put out the public notice that it's going to start at 9?
You should not.
Okay.
But let me see, since we are, no,
Okay.
because we have
We don't
this
have enough
space
time.
available for
Right.
people to come. And even though people may not come, that's the time that we publicized.
And I know you have to have a certain amount of time that you need to let
Let them know.
them know that there's a
Mhm,
change.
mhm. Let's see, it's 5 o'clock. I could reach out to communications and
And I
see.
think, I think we'll just go with what we've got. Thank you,
Okay.
though.
Mhm, mhm.
This Commissioner League, I really feel like we probably need to move that social studies in first grade to the end of Thursday. I mean, that frees up 40 more minutes.
Commissioner Ray, that's fine.
It still give us 30 minutes to get into the rooms to check on everybody. Okay, so with that change, that puts us 4:40 gives us 20 minutes to check on rooms. And then we have Friday morning touch base, and then we start at 9 with finishing up social studies. Then we should be second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade social studies finished by 9:20, ready to start sixth grade. Oh, we probably need a break, so let's do a break at 10:20. 10-minute break, is that enough? So that gets it to 10:30, and then we can start back with ELD at 10:30. And we'll work on those times this evening, and then tomorrow morning after we've got a chance to see how we're doing. Commissioner Linker, so we've got the information in our sheet. Look a little bit further at those larger blocks of times after 10 o'clock on Friday morning, and work on those this evening and come back so we can discuss that. I can finalize that up in the morning. Are there any questions about debriefing and what that looks like as a commission before we talk about it? So just a recap, the advisors and we will be here, so we don't need a link. The advisors will have a separate WebEx link, and they will come in, and then we'll just go by number, the bid number, and ask for a few pros, a few, strengths, a few weaknesses, and then move to the next one, and we'll start with alphabetically with the first publisher, the first number, and work like the spreadsheet. I do have a cleaned up spreadsheet that just has the numbers of the bids. I haven't adjusted it. It was from the original list, and I will send that out tonight. So you'll have a kind of a cleaner list that's not with all the other information like the specific titles and stuff. It'll just have the top line that was bold to help kind of pace. And when they finish, we just go to the next one and thank them for their services. As one finishes, the other one can be in the room. So like I'd have them come into the room a good 5 minutes early, because if we get to where we finish right on time or a minute or two early, then we can start, give directions to the next group. So for example, the group that starts at 12 o'clock, well, we don't want to wait till 12:20 and for the second group to be coming in. So I think if we say both of them at 12, and then the second group, like move their times up 10 or 15 minutes. Does that make sense? If we say to world history, 1 o'clock, and they're coming in at 1 o'clock, then we have to wait for them to get in the WebEx. I'm thinking about how we had it when we were face to face, and they actually would be in the room and they would just come in the back and sit. So there's no reason that they couldn't come in the WebEx and just wait until it's their turn. So if we give them a time to be in the WebEx, 10 minutes enough? Say you're going to go on, we think at this time, but be there at this time, or do you want to say 15 minutes ahead of time? Because they'll.
I don't think we need to give them two separate times. I think we say, we know that we want
Okay.
to start at 3, but we tell them you need to be in this room at 2:50.
Good point.
2:50 and
Right. Good point.
somebody's not coming until 3 o'clock.
Good point. Commissioner Linker, that's a good point. All right, so we know what time we anticipate them to start. You're gonna tell them 10 minutes before that time. Would be the time that we want them to come into the end of WebEx.
So 9/12 ED, actually be working Thursday. And then for some of the debriefing Friday, they should continue working, correct?
Correct. Which is a good point for those that are coming in to debrief and are going back to do something. They know that when we're finished with them, that they can go back to the room and start working unless it's at lunch break and then eat and go back and start working.
Commissioner Autry, should they continue to work on the ones that we've already debriefed? Or
Ones that have not been debriefed and have nothing and need another eye. This is Commissioner Linker. Is there anything else to discuss? Any questions? We've got a schedule for tomorrow, which is our goal for today, is to have our schedule for tomorrow. We'll have the schedule for Friday firmed up when we meet tomorrow morning. So then we can, when we get back we have that brief meeting tomorrow morning. When we get finished with it and get back to the rooms, we can give the final schedule for Friday before we come back to start the briefing. I want to make sure. Commissioner Linker, we have a question from the room. It's 5 o'clock. Did anyone give directions for them to do anything other than when it's 5, you can leave? Our DPI people were.
This is Commissioner Slice. I just texted my group and told them to go ahead and close out the meeting. Know what to do.
Commissioner Ray, same.
So they can, there's nothing that they need to do. They can just leave. And Dr. Fair, if Commissioner Linker, Dr. Fair, you could tell the DPI consultants thank you and that they can also leave at 5.
I certainly will.
Okay, so if we feel like we've got our plan for Thursday, we know what the schedule for Thursday, we have a rough idea for Friday, we'll firm it up tomorrow when we meet in the morning. If there's no other questions or discussions, we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Ray, make a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Slice, I second the motion.
Commissioner Ray made a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Sy seconded that motion. Dr. Fair, if we can do,
Okay, Jody,
Roll call.
Commissioner Jody Ray Autry,
Commissioner Autry approved.
Commissioner Ricky Baldwin,
Commissioner Baldwin approved.
Commissioner Aubrey Cadet,
Commissioner Gannett approves.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker,
Commissioner Linker approves.
Commissioner Alicia Ray,
Commissioner Ray approves.
and Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Sessions.
Okay, so everyone in attendance approved.
And meeting adjourned. See you in the morning.